A Jedi general vanishes on a distant world, leaving his young apprentice and a group of untested clone troopers to complete a dangerous secret mission. Trapped in the vast expanse of wild space, in the far outskirts of the galaxy, this inexperienced team must look for assistance among a world of smugglers and criminals while evading Darth Sidious's ruthless bounty hunter, Cad Bane. With few options and time running out, they'll need all the help they can get.
Hello, younglings, and welcome back to the Padawan Library, the Star Wars junior novel podcast. I'm Levi Paratic, and with me, as always, Tim May.
Hello!
And today, younglings, we are starting a new series. This is going to be our second to last series of the show.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the show because we did some figuring, because I know early on we said we were going to end this in October. That's not how it's going to be.
It's all our fault, the reason we're not. Because
we missed episodes. But guess what? We're going into the new year, so...
Yeah, probably early January.
Early
roughly.
January, that's when we're calling it now.
Yeah.
But the series we're starting is Star Wars The Clone Wars Secret Missions. This is a 4-part series written by Ryder Wyndham, who we are previously familiar with Adventures in Hyperspace. Was what that was called, that Han Solo series?
Yes.
So this is a more an older child series than those books were, but we'll get into that later. But we should talk some recent Star Wars news.
Well, before we get to that...
Okay, all right.
And we're going to have a long conversation about Star Wars Visions for all these freaks that are waiting. But... because I have to have detailed notes, actually. Like I took more notes on that than on the book.
I'm waiting for you to say Animatrix at least once. That's I know he's going to
so much Animatrix. I was thinking maybe I should rewatch the Animatrix before. All right.
I was thinking maybe I should watch the Animatrix. That's the one Matrix thing I haven't seen, so I should do that at least before 4.
A couple things I wanted to do. First of all, this is the first time we recorded since I got these 2 new Lego sets that I want to show off to the podcast listening audience that can't see them.
Oh, Lego Master Tim, he's a Legos man. Holy crap, look at the size of that thing.
I got the Saturn V, which...
Try to get all of that in the frame. Try to get it all.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Wow. That thing's incredible.
Saturn V rocket, which is amazing.
You know what?
$100.
That's not bad for a Lego set of that size.
Yeah. It's like 3.5 feet tall.
I was actually driving through Alabama once, and there's a rest area between Nashville and Birmingham that has literally just a rest stop on the side of the highway, and they have a Saturn V rocket propped upright.
Well, that's near Huntsville, right?
Yeah, it is near Huntsville, and that
where the great guy Werner von Braun lives. Yikes.
Anyway, those things are huge, standing below it. It's wow. And that Lego set is massive.
All right. Well, you're going to be annoyed by this one now.
Okay, too, I can't wait.
Okay. The Tim Burton
he bought
Batmobile.
It. He bought it.
I did it. It's very big.
It is very big. Wow.
It was actually like twice as many pieces as the Saturn V.
Wow. It's half the size of that.
Saturn V did not come with any figures, but the Batmobile came with Batman, Vicky Vale, and Joker, Nicholson Joker. So,
very nice.
The problem is the Batman's cape and cowl prevent him from being able to sit in the Batmobile. So that's my only issue with the whole thing.
You know what? I was at Walmart yesterday, and this is a much tinier set, but it's a Walmart exclusive set. It was only $30. It's the 66 Batmobile they made. Yeah, it was a Walmart. I'll send you the photo of it. I took a photo.
I'm going to Walmart tomorrow. Honestly.
Yeah, it came with
$30. Like I've cut myself off from these like big sets for the rest of the year. I cannot continue buying them. But like a $30 set for the 66 Batmobile sounds too cheap.
Yeah, it came with Batman and Joker were the two that came with it. So I wanted a Robin. I don't know if they're doing like a 66 series of Legos. That would be fun if they were.
That would be great. I would love that.
Because I feel like there needs to be a Robin Lego to go in the passenger seat.
Yeah, especially for that series. I mean, I would want all the villains. Like, honestly, the figures are like, when it comes to the licensed stuff, that's half the fun for me is the figures. Like, so.
Well, that's a whole industry all on its own. You go to any flea market, and there is like one person who deals exclusively in Lego minifigs.
I won't call them that.
I know you.
I don't use any official Lego branding that they're trying to force onto the culture. Like, I say Legos, meaning multiple pieces of Lego, as they like to say. Nice try. They're Legos. And I also say Lego people.
Well, we established
Lego figures.
When your brother was on the show, I think Denmark is a foe. Yeah. Denmark is a foe of the shows.
Yeah, we're anti-Dane. So, all right. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I literally just got back from a movie. I saw *Malignant*, the new James Wan movie, and I can't say anything about it without kind of spoiling it. But I'm still working out my thoughts on it. It's a very strange film, and I just, like, it's weird because it kind of felt like mid-period Wes Craven. But, like, if Wes Craven directed an episode of Pretty Little Liars. I don't know if that's right, but there are 3 or 4 moments in this movie, like, where it honestly felt like an act break on Pretty Little Liars. Like, I think if you watch it, you'll know what I mean. Anyway.
All right.
Let's talk about Star Wars Visions, which, you referenced the Animatrix, is Star Wars take on the Animatrix almost 20 years later. Finally got around to doing it. Seems like something they should have done years ago.
Yeah, this is something that I feel like there's been people who have done Star Wars shorts in an anime style that have been very popular on YouTube, and it is surprising that they haven't done anything that's officially licensed up until this point.
And I'll say this about it broadly. I want to go through each one specifically because I have some thoughts, and I watched all the behind-the-scenes featurettes on each of them too.
Oh, so I did not.
I have the ultimate amount of context you can currently have on this brand new thing. So, I thought, like the nature of this kind of project is it's going to be hit or miss. I did think it was for the most part more, whatever. Anyway, it was more hit than miss. I think probably and I think there's only 1 or 2 actively bad ones, I would say. And there are probably about 3 that I think are like legitimately very good. I 3 that are like top tier, I think.
Now hang on. You texted me the day this came out in the morning. You said you had watched 4 of them, and 2 were great. These are the first 4. 2 were great.
Or
1
good.
was okay,
yeah.
And one was good, and 1 was terrible. And I'm going to guess which one you think was terrible.
Do you have the titles?
Tatooine Rhapsody. Yeah,
listen,
Tatooine Rapsody?
Yes, it is one.
Because it has no real ending. Like, it doesn't go
there's
anywhere.
a million reasons. Okay. So, let's just go through them.
Okay.
So the first one is the Duel, which is the one that's probably been the most prominent in the advertising.
I think this was I kind of think this was the best one. I don't know. Maybe because it was the first one, but I thought this one was all right.
I think this one's very good. don't know if it's my favorite. We'll get to that, I think. But couple things. I liked the look of it a lot. It reminded me a lot. They talk a lot in the featurette about how it's inspired by Kurosawa, which it absolutely is. But in terms of the actual like drafting style, I think it looks quite a bit like the manga artist Takehiko Inoue, who is probably most famous around the world for the manga Slam Dunk, but he also does a very good samurai manga called Vagabond. Great artist, and it kind of just reminded me of that. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the actual like real creative talent behind these because I'm pretty checked out of anime as the thing. I read lots of manga, but I don't really watch a lot of anime, so especially TV stuff. Like I pretty much only watch anime and movies at this point in my life. So I'm not like super plugged in the way I would have been. I was when the Animatrix came out, and I know all those guys. But anyway, that one I did really like, and it had. I thought they talked about it in the featurette. The director was talking about how he included 2 homages to the movies. One was to episode 3. When they're going through the river, the logs is like the Mustafar, and then the other one is Phantom Menace when she's like the waterfall's blocking her, the Sith woman, and like she even like tries to like slash at the waterfall like the same way Maul tries to slash at the force fields. You know what I'm talking about?
So that guy knows what's up. So.
Yeah, no, it's some prequel referencing.
Something I do like about this, I like how some of them you can kind of place in where they fall in a timeline, and some of them they could be anywhere really. And I kind of like the ones that like you're just kind of guessing, but it's not important where they're in the timeline.
That's something they talked about in the main featurette. I can't remember which Lucasfilm person said this, but it was basically that while all of it will be able to fit into canon and everything, like they wanted to give the creators they worked with like the opportunity to just kind of do what they wanted. So like it was, and that it wasn't concerned with like one of them even said something like a lot of Star Wars storytelling is very concerned with canon, and we didn't really care that much about canon. It's like we would give it a once over to make sure it's not wild, but and I was just like that's cool. I like that.
Well, this one, the duel, if I remember correctly, the idea is that some bandits took over an old outpost, and they have like stormtrooper armor, but it's definitely First Order stormtrooper armor, so it has to be post the sequel trilogy, if anything.
Yeah, there's I thought a lot about some of these in terms of the timeline implications, but I think most of them are either post Order 66 or post sequels.
There was only the one that I thought maybe could be. Well, there's a couple that I thought could be before. Like
there's one that I think might be a High Republic era.
Was that the Ninth Jedi you were thinking? Or maybe the Elder. The Elder could be.
Yeah, we'll get to those. Let's talk about Tatooine Rhapsody.
All right. Well, this has the American cast of this has Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the main character.
Levitt, you always mispronounce. I literally just listened to an old episode of our show where you mispronounced his name again. But I actually wanted to say something before we get to the American cast. Is the default on this is the dub, and I didn't realize they were dubbed. I thought it because, like, for example, the Animatrix was produced natively in English, so like it was made by Japanese filmmakers, but like the voice acting was initially English. There might be a Japanese dub of it, but I didn't realize. Then I watched all the making of stuff, and all the clips were in Japanese. I was just like, they should make it more clear that there's that option's available. That's all I would say. That's a Disney Plus note, not a note about the actual thing. But yeah, this is about Joseph Gordon-Levitt voices a
Bobby Moynihan is also in it.
Moynihan, you mispronounced his name.
And Tamura Marison.
I was about to correct you, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is a clear joke going on."
If I didn't know that, I'd be like a certain friend of the show would be so insulted.
Well, yeah, he already is like aiming to take your job. If you listen to last week's bonus
I haven't
episode.
had a chance yet. I need to.
It's only a half hour. But,
I know. It's going to be a super easy listen. So,
all right. So yeah, this one I think is it's about this kid who was clearly a Jedi, like
during the Clone Wars.
a Padawan during the Clone Wars, escaped Order 66 somehow, is living on Tatooine, hanging out with a Hutt teen and a couple other cool teens and a droid teen, and they're all in a cool teen pop punk band. And I didn't know, the reason this is notable that I didn't know about the Japanese thing is because I heard a clip of the song in Japanese in one of these featurettes, but the song is translated and sung, and to me, I made the note that I think it sounds like an Uno Dos Tre era Green Day song, which is not a compliment.
To me, this one I think is the worst one, but I know I have an ex-college roommate who would blast this song. Like 100%, this song would be blasting on his laptop while playing League of Legends, and Mel's only response to this was, well, there's some new jizz.
Yeah. Well, I love that. My favorite thing in this was they ultimately wind up playing a concert for Jabba at the Boonta
because he's going to execute his nephew or whoever who didn't read as a Hutt at first either. I did not get that he was a Hutt till Boba Fett showed up.
I mean, generally, by the way, I think this even like looks fine, like for what it's going for. The production like level on all these, the budget is clearly very high for all of these.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to a lot of kind of like slap and dash TV anime. But anyway, they're playing the song, and then it has like a montage from people all around Tatooine. So you have Figrin Dan and the Modal Nodes at the cantina, like sitting around watching it and bobbing their heads. I was like, Figrin, like. That'd be like Wynton Marsalis going like, yeah, I love Blink-182. Like, it's ridiculous. And then the other thing I noticed is it cuts to Boba Fett bobbing his head, which I'm just like, Boba Fett doesn't care about this at all. I'm not saying he wouldn't be mad either. I'm not like, he just wouldn't care at all. Like, it's just like, it's so weird to see him bobbing his head.
And not only that, but they're performing at the Boonta Eve Classic pod race track. Like, they're not even at Jabba's palace. Like, it's an arena show that they're putting on, but it's at the racetrack. You could have made a new place. It doesn't have. I was hoping for some pod racing, but.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not just the song. I just didn't think it was that good. There was I mentioned a little piece of the score. I don't really remember this, but I noted that a little piece of the score reminded me of Titanic. Probably it had pan flute or something, and it just made me think of Titanic. Whatever, it was like 4 a.m. I was just like thinking about Titanic at 4 a.m. That's what I do. All right, let's move on. The Twins. I
thought this one was okay.
There's things about it I really liked, and there are things about it that I thought were pretty corny. Specifically, they say something about a galaxy far, far away in the dialogue. It was so embarrassing.
You know what I hated? Which happens, this series is obsessed with kyber crystals.
Oh, I mentioned that in my notes.
There's so much kyber crystal action, and everybody's saying I got a bad feeling about this, and like by the end...
I feel like they should have been like, they should have done a lottery for all of the filmmakers and been like, one of you gets to use I've got a bad feeling about this, because it's like ultimately there's like what 2.5 hours total for all these, so like you can't hear it 9 times. I can't do it 9 times.
It definitely was like at least 7 or 8 times it does happen. I don't know if it happens.
It's not everyone, because a couple of them are very silent.
But that line of him, like Neil Patrick Harris saying, "We're gonna go to a galaxy far, far away" or something, that was so corny.
There was like I'm not super like this is like a studio that I'm a little more vaguely familiar with. Trigger. I think they made a movie called like Promare or something that I've seen the trailer for. like the animation itself is really impressive. It feels a little like this is the most sequel trilogy vibes to me of any of these. I don't know why specifically. I don't know. It had the most, like, it's about these twins who are like, it sounds like they're kind of, some of Sheev's genetic experiments, that kind of thing.
They kind of evoke Luke and Leia. The one really invokes Luke because he rides around in an X-Wing for no reason. He has an X-Wing fighter despite being this creation of the Empire.
But there was some cool little action bits. Like, I liked, I thought it was cool when the lightsaber went through, like, whatever that laser field was and became huge and cut the
Star Destroyer in half.
Like, that's
then invoke that Last Jedi shot.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That was cool.
Mm-hmm. The hardest part of Last Jedi, in my opinion.
So hard. Oh my
Vice
God.
Amilyn Holdo. Canon.
Yeah, legend. Never fucking diss. All right. The next one, when I wrote these notes, and I'm debating doing this and two other ones from later, but The Village Bride I thought was the best one of the first four. And I thought this was, I liked the vibe of it the most. It was very quiet. It's about, it's post Order 66. There's a Jedi on this like kind of like tree, this like foresty planet.
A planet that looks an awful lot like Japan, which happens a lot in this series.
Which is fine. That's fine with me. Mountainous landscape, and I just found that I don't know. It evoked my favorite, like, as someone who watched a lot of anime when I was younger, it evoked my favorite kinds of anime a lot, and I thought the conflict at the center of it was pretty interesting because it's this. There's like a warlord who has like gotten a bunch of old battle droids and is like trying to like essentially take hostage the leader of this village, and this new bride is like, well, if I get married, I will become the leader, so she'll go in the place of her father, basically, is the idea. And then this Jedi and seemingly her possibly also a former Jedi friend are like there to, help work that situation out. And I thought that was, I just really liked that one. I thought that was really well made.
I liked it when the battle droid started speaking, and it was the right battle droid voice. It was that.
Was it Matthew Wood?
I think it was Matthew Wood.
I would assume if they got Samura, they could get Matthew.
Now, speaking of those voices, I had very much the Clone Wars cast voice in my head while reading this book this week. We can get into that later.
Oh, we'll talk.
Yeah, I was definitely hearing that. The next one, the Ninth Jedi, I really like this one for some reason. This one is the one that I think could be kind of High Republic or Old Republic.
I think it could be. First, I thought it was like,
or it's way later.
Because there's this whole thing like Jedi, like lightsabers, like kyber crystals are in short supply. Again, obsessed with kyber crystals.
They are obsessed, and lightsabers. The art of making lightsabers is lost, but the Sith are around too. So that makes me think maybe it's Old Republic if it's like the Sith.
Yeah.
But then, like, who knows? The Sith could have come back after the sequel trilogy. It doesn't really matter in the context of the story. But there's
a great little reversal in this because, like, essentially, like this, like. Lightsaber maker kind of calls all these disparate Jedi to the temple, and then whoops, turns out all but one of them is actually a Sith there to kill any Jedi that come, know. And one of the Sith, this is the dorkiest that I've said on this podcast, that I'm about to say. One of these Siths looks like the human form of Asuka or Kamidake from Tenchi Universe, the real heads know. Anyway,
somebody's laughing at that.
Yeah, one person probably.
There can be 100 people in a room, but all it takes is one person to laugh at the joke.
So true. Well, yeah, we got. You excited about that Del Toro movie? That looks pretty interesting.
I haven't
with Bradley.
No, I haven't watched the trailer for that yet.
Yeah,
or
it comes
know
out
anything
in
about
December.
That.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. Very excited for that.
Oh, and you excited? He's in the Paul Thomas Anderson movie playing John Peters. Did you hear about
Of course.
this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
You hear
excited
he's
for the
playing John Peters?
No,
right?
I didn't hear that part. No.
Yeah, like John Peters in the 70s. Like, so that sounds.
This movie seems more and more up your alley all the time.
too much, honestly. Like, oh no. Well, whatever. And you know, when people make movies specifically for me, it always works out.
Yep. It's so nice of Paul to do that for you too.
Yeah, it feels also very much. Again, what I shouldn't even invoke it. Whatever. It feels like his answer to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in a lot of ways. Just from what I've heard about it. Like just the Hollywood part of it, you know, the hometown ode to your youth kind of thing. Anyway, Ninth Jedi though, I thought this was good. Yeah, I like this one. I didn't love the look of it. I thought it was a little pro forma. Like it wasn't as distinctive as some of the other ones, in my opinion.
The next one.
Oh my god.
B1.
I have a lot to talk about here.
This one's cute. That's all I'll say about that.
That's fine. This is not even really about the content. It's fine. It's clearly, I want to be this is the thing I want to communicate the most about this entire project and the behind the scenes material specifically. TOB1 or Toby is about a droid who wants to be a Jedi. It's like kind of a Pinocchio story. Is the idea, and he is the person who built him is a former Jedi, post Order 66. Now it's obviously you wouldn't really know this because you're not familiar with any of this stuff really, but this is clearly going for a Osamu Tezuka vibe. Astro Boy himself. Like, it's not, there is nothing, nothing about it that is not going for that.
I swear they mentioned that first behind the scenes thing they did. Like they
do not, no.
I swear they mentioned Astro Boy.
No. Well, first of all, my criticism of it initially when I watched the short was that it feels too much like a pop culture mashup T-shirt from Loot Crate, which is just I thought it was a funny gist. But then it's also the Japanese voice of the main character is Masako Nozawa, who is the voice of Goku from Dragon Ball. I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, the behind the scenes though. In the behind the scenes, it is mentioned. Pinocchio is mentioned as an influence. The French comics artist Mobius is mentioned as an influence. These are fair. You know who's never mentioned? Tezuka. And I have a theory as to why. Because there is still hurt feelings at Disney about the whole Kimba the White Lion thing with The Lion King.
Oh, without a doubt. And
it is embarrassing. That was 25 years ago, and Tezuka was dead at the time and is even more dead now. And, like, give some respect. This is a direct lift. The character designs are almost the same. His hair is, like, similar to Astro Boy's, and his owner looks like it's the most Tezuka shit ever, and it's so fucking weird if they had mentioned no other influences, fine, but to mention all these influences, including specific people like Mobius, where there's like maybe a vague influence of Mobius, maybe like, but to not mention Tezuka is like kind of just like insane to me. I don't know. It's whatever. I'm not like mad about it, but like I sound more mad than I am. But it's just a baffling choice. I get it. It's just if maybe in the initial thing you saw they mentioned it and they cut it out of the final. That's fucking ridiculous if that happened though.
Anyway, the Elder, which at one point there's a character in this who calls another character most boring, and that's how I felt about this one.
Oh, I disagree very.
I found David Harbour, his performance was so he gave nothing. I don't know. I did not like this one at all. I thought this one was too chilled out. There was nothing going on here.
I thought this one was very strong.
No, I didn't think that. I thought opposite. Sorry. But...
No, it's fine. Yeah, listen, it's pretty rare we get to disagree.
Yeah, we get to disagree on something. I don't know.
I get where you're coming from with the David Harbour performance. I thought it was weirdly muted. I think I get kind of what he was going for, but
he's like, I want to be Qui-Gon Jinn, but
yeah, it's a weird performance. But I thought that this, I really liked. I just thought this was like really well made in general, like specifically the final like fight, and I really liked the Sith Lord, the old like crazy old Sith Lord. I thought he was a lot of fun, and the final like blow that he does to him, I thought was really cool. I like that one. It's not like my favorite of these, but I thought it was interesting, and behind the scenes revealed that the director views this as he's retiring, so this is his final.
Wow.
He's been working for 30 years, and this is going to be his last professional work. So
now, out of the last three here, I would put this one number one of the last three.
Oh, see, I would put it above the last one. We'll get to the last one.
Okay, so you like the furry one?
Okay, No, that's not what it is, in my opinion.
Okay, but this one just felt like a TV pilot to me. Like they want more out of this one.
I mean, I actually would be somewhat interested in that. There's a couple things about it. La Pinocho is the name, and it's about a family on a planet that has been that the imperial colonization has begun on this planet. And there's an alien character who is, they talk about it in the behind the scenes is a related species to Jackson. So they actually talk about Jackson in the behind the scenes, which I appreciated.
Shouts.
And she's like this bunny woman, but she's first of all not presented as sexy in any way. So I think it negates some of your furry disagreement.
Well, 7 years later, she's a little bit more developed. I'll say that.
She's an adult, yes, so that she looks like an adult, but she is not presented in a sexy fashion in any way. I mean,
I mean, there's rarely sexy anything in Star Wars, so I mean, I never bring sex into it, Tim. Why?
Well, you're the one who brought up furries, like whatever.
Furry people can be furries and it not be a sex thing. Come on.
Yeah, but you said it in a dismissive fashion, which is clearly what you're going for. Like you're being deeply disingenuous right now. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, this story I thought was she's like an adopted sister to this family. The father turns out that he like starts leading a rebel cell on the planet, and his natural daughter, his biological daughter, is not down with it. She wants to lead the family to like serve the Empire, and I thought it was pretty cool that like the kind of more revolutionary character was the parent character. I thought that was like a good reversal of how these stories normally are. And it's also basically, there's a little bit of it that comes in later. It's basically the only non-Jedi related story of these. I also appreciate that the main like Imperial officer villain character has like a fascist YouTuber haircut. I thought that was funny. And
this one is the one that most because some of these like really just kind of evoke like the Japanese landscape, but this one is like the most invoking of Earth in terms of like the city that's presented there. There's power lines. It feels the most.
Well, it looked a lot like
Earth-like.
I mean, I really liked the design elements of the planet, the natural stuff, and the cities. I just thought it was one of the better looking shorts too. I just thought the design work was really strong across the board. I thought it's probably not my favorite, is between this and The Village Bride. Those are the ones I liked the most. And then The Duel, which is just a cool style exercise. But, yeah, those are the three, I would say. If you're only going to watch three, which you might as well watch them all, honestly. Like, if you listen to this podcast, why are you wasting, like, you waste enough time with Star Wars that you might as well watch all of them.
Might as well.
But yeah, and then there's the last one, which Akakiri, which
I was burned out by this one, so.
Well, I knew it wasn't a burnout thing. I just don't think it's that good. It's a weird one to close it on. I think there's a couple interesting concepts in it. I liked the look to some degree. It looked a little more like Franco-Belgian. In the behind the scenes, they talk about this one and what's the other one? And the Tezuka looking one, TOB1. Those two were made by the same studio, and it's interesting. It's an animation studio in Japan that was founded by a Korean woman, and the guy that made TOB1 was a Spanish man who moved to Japan to work in the anime industry. So this one is. And so I said, I didn't know that when I was watching this, because I said I wrote that it looks kind of like a Franco-Belgian style, which, I have no problem with that. It's kind of interesting. I actually wish more of these kinds of anthologies wouldn't only draw from the Japanese industry. There's animation industries all over the world at this point now. Obviously, like 20 years ago with the Animatrix, it was essentially the only other like fully up and running animation industry, probably like national animation industry outside of the US was in Japan. And you had little scattershot studios around elsewhere, but now it's a bigger industry now. I think it'd be interesting to go from different cultures and stuff like that. And maybe if they do another like run of these, they'll do that.
I would be fine with another run of these on it.
I liked the overall, like, I was talking a little shit on a couple of them, but I think this was like pretty successful overall. I think the hit rate of something like the Animatrix is stronger, but this is not like an embarrassment. This is like better than every Batman Gotham Knight short, for example.
Yeah, they should do another one of these. I keep seeing people, they want to say, because they're obsessed with that Marvel What If series, keep that out of Star Wars. We don't need that here.
Well, I don't know if you ever read these. There were those comics in like the early 2000s, the Star Wars Infinities books.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And those were like, they did one for each of the movies, each of the trilogy, and it was basically like something changes and then the story changes as a result. And I thought it was fun for a comic book, but I don't think putting the resources of like a full production.
We don't need that. Like, especially, and Marvel's all about the multiverse now, and we don't need a multiverse in Star Wars.
If that happens, I will not be watching new Star Wars material.
Yeah, we don't need a multiverse in Star Wars. We already have one.
I hate it in Marvel. I hate it in Marvel.
It's a mess now. Everything's a mess.
I hated it in the comics. When they started relying more and more on that as a concept, that's when I fell off reading Marvel comics.
It's like that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse,
which is a great movie.
Great movie. They take it, they throw it out there.
But that's a one-off story, and now apparently that's just a definitive element of the character, that there's multiple Spider-Men across multiple universes. It's just like if you had told It's like now clones are a huge part of Spider-Man, that because there are enough losers that like the Clone Saga from the 90s, which stinks, and and now whatever. I don't need to get off on the Spider-Man thing right now.
We could go off for a long time, but it's also it's embarrassing to me that then Marvel Studios takes this, they make it the whole centerfold of what there's going on in this next phase of their MCU, and basically DC's doing the same exact thing. So and
DC has what I mean, it's going to be bad, but I'm just saying DC historically has way more of a multiverse history in terms of how their comics storytelling has been. In Marvel, whatever alternate realities there were usually done for one-off stories. So Days of Future Past, the X-Men story and stuff like that. But whatever, definitely don't put it anywhere near Star Wars. It has no place
Zero
in that universe. It would be so annoying if they did that. The What If thing, again, for a one-off comic book that's a fun thought experiment, that's fun. But I just don't see the point of putting the resources of a full-scale production into something like that.
No, because you'd put the same amount of resources into that than you would another season of this, and I'd much rather have another season of this.
Like, I'd love another season of this. Even use some of these as like a bet. Like, I know you didn't really like it, but I didn't think of this as a backdoor pilot. But like La Pinocha, like that's enough of a world they built there that they could easily build that into a series, and a couple of these other ones too. Like, like if they wanted to do something like that, I think that would be smart, honestly.
Tatooine Rhapsody doesn't have much of an ending, so we can have, Tatooine Rhapsody 2.
Yeah, so like they're just the house band for like intergalactic criminal Jabba the Hutt now, like at the end.
I guess so, yeah.
It's such a weird ending. Okay.
Yeah, they perform so well that Jabba's like, nah, I'm not going to execute my nephew now, or however that character is related to him.
All right. Well,
and also too, I'm figuring it's going to result in like a big battle because like they already reveal when Boba Fett attacks them that they have like weapons.
I did like
instruments.
I enjoyed the Boba Fett design in this. I thought it was
did
like
too.
a fun look, little Boba Fett. It was entertaining.
I guess by his height, then we can determine his age. So
it might be like right after Order 66, so it's still teen Boba Fett. But yeah, all right. Well, I will say, I think this was a success. This is a very, right after I finished it was just like, do you want to watch The Bad Batch? And yes, I will watch it before the end of the series, the podcast. I said I would watch all of it, so, which I have no problem doing. So I'll get to that soon. But I will say this is a nice kind of change of pace in terms of Star Wars animation. I love we have great love for Filoni here and the Filoni set of shows, but it's nice to just see something done in like something fairly successful done in a different style. I appreciate that. So
I like a lot of new ideas too. Like a lot of people have a lot of ideas.
The Tatooine Rhapsody is the only one that has any pre-existing characters in it, right?
Yeah, it's the only one.
Which I liked. I mean, I didn't love that one, but I don't think it's because
I didn't love that one. But you had Boba, you had Jabba, you had Bib.
Very briefly, yeah.
Mel was Figrin and Dan. Mel was naming all the dancers. Jabba's dancers were all there. So except Ula. Ula wasn't there.
Wow, no, that's She should have been.
She should have.
I guess she would have been like younger. Probably she might have been a kid at that time.
Probably because if this
that's like 20 years earlier.
If this is like right after Order 66 sort of area.
Yeah, that's
Boba's still, and we still have little Boba. So Boba's how old is Boba? Boba's not only like probably 12.
Yeah, well, how long before Clones is he born?
Well,
because he ages at a normal rate, right? So
he ages at a normal rate. Yeah.
He's like about 10 or 11, maybe.
10 or 11 somewhere
in Clones.
So
then by Sith, he's the 14.
Yeah, somewhere in
there.
there.
So he's 14 or 15 in this, probably. That's interesting. All right, well, success. I'm happy with it. It was a nice day and a half of watching Star Wars stuff.
Yep. And then now we get to look forward to Disney Plus Day on November 12th.
They're trying to make the anniversary of the launch of Disney Plus into a holiday, and it's embarrassing. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I've been happy with the service. I've gotten my money's worth, I feel like. But it's like, chill the fuck out, Like,
but we're getting the Star Wars, what do they call it? Star Wars First Look or something like that. Just an exclusive look. They're doing one for Marvel too.
It's probably going to have the trailer for Book of Boba Fett and some others.
And I expect they'll do
maybe announce when something else is coming out.
Yeah, they'll probably have footage from Andor too.
Oh yeah, because that's like they're most done, and Obi-Wan is done shooting.
I wouldn't be surprised if we just have behind the scenes footage from Obi-Wan and we get to see Ewan for a little bit, but. Be nice to see a little Hayden too.
I'm actually kind of curious about the Andor show because
I'll watch
that
it.
One's 12 episodes.
Well, I feel like that's the one that's most likely to not get us like another season.
Well, yeah,
I don't feel like there's no way Obi-Wan's getting another season, but like I feel like Andor is going to be like a standalone.
Well, that's also like he's already 5 years older than he was in Rogue One, and he's playing like pre.
Yeah, a younger version.
I don't think they can really stretch that too far. But anyway, I'm curious about that because that was a character who conceptually I was really interested in, and they just didn't do enough with him in Rogue One. So anyway, When we come back, we're going to start our next series here, which is Clone Wars Secret Missions by Ryder Wyndham, with the first book, Breakout Squad. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Padawan Library. I'm Tim May, here as always with Levi Peretic.
Hola.
And this week, we begin a new series, a short series, only 4 books, that we didn't know about when we embarked on this podcast. I remember last year you discovered that these books existed, and it was frustrating to me. I was like, oh, add another one to the list.
Yeah, 4 more books to the list.
And it's, Star Wars The Clone Wars Secret Missions, which is officially tie-in material for the Clone Wars, the show, not the Genndy Clone Wars, the Filoni Clone Wars.
This came out right around the same time as that, too.
It's 08, right?
Yeah, this is, this story takes place directly after the Malevolence arc, which is the first big story arc of season 1, I believe.
This is 2009, this came
okay.
out. So, there are a lot of Clone Wars young readers tie-in novels that you might find around. Most of them are adaptations of episodes, the vast majority. This series,
Jason Fry wrote a few of them.
This series is the only one that is an original story just for the books. So that's why we're doing it. We aren't going to do all the novelizations.
I do want to say, so we had to add this series, and we are adding 2 more books to our reading list. We can get into those later. But I do want to announce, though, what was that High Republic book? Something Courage.
Okay.
Courage.
We have not actually talked about this yet. And
yes.
I saw it in the store. They upgraded the. Okay, we read A Test of Courage at the beginning of the season, which was a young reader's book.
It's a hardback, but it's the same size as that Guardians of the Wheel book. It's same size. There's a slew of books that are this size.
And there's actually a new High Republic book that is not by the same author, by a different author that is that size, that we aren't going to read. But in general, but then the sequel to A Test of Courage came out. You bought it.
I bought it. I ordered it early because last time I didn't order the book. Yeah.
They upgraded it to young adult.
It's 400 pages. It is like a full-on novel.
It's a young adult size book. It's like Lost Stars or a book like that.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's not in our purview. If you wanted us to review it, Lucasfilm, you needed to keep it young readers, and you fucked up. It's
so weird. It is so weird that the first book is so tiny and for a different age group, and then you would age up. It makes no sense.
I mean, it's just weird that it's a direct sequel. It's not like if you want to think of some of the characters cross over. What
this is? This is Sorcerer's Stone jumping to Order of the Phoenix in terms of size.
That is true.
The jump of
that is true. Man, Order of the Phoenix is my favorite, which is the hottest take I have about that franchise. But anyway, so there's. We're not going to be doing any more of those. High Republic, it is still something at some point I might want to delve into, but it would be post-podcast, so that's what it is. But the new books we're adding to the schedule. What are the new books we're adding?
Okay, so we have I don't know the name of this one, but it's George Mann's follow-up to Myths and Fables, which was the Galaxy's Edge tie-in.
Yes.
It's a tale of scary stories sort of thing. It's the same size book as Myths and Fables. So that'll be
basically for the next month. We're doing this series that we're starting this week. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to do Mighty Chewbacca and the Forest of Fear with our friend Franco is going to come back.
He's going to come back. Yep.
And we're going to do that. And then hopefully his kid might enjoy this one.
Yes, I hope so. And then we'll do this Myths and Fables sequel.
And that'll be our spooky episodes for the year because we're done with Galaxy of Fear. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to launch into Rebel Force, which is our last real series, right?
Right.
Which we're very excited because that's the return of Jude, a.k.a. Alex Wheeler, a.k.a. Judy Blundell, a.k.a. So many aliases. Is this Jennifer Garner over here? Too many aliases. Oh no. So there's that, and then you had, what's this new? There's
okay,
a new
so there's a
Life
third
Day
book.
right?
There's this third book in that series of myths and fables, and it is called the Life Day Treasury, which is written by George Mann and Cavan Scott, who wrote Adventures in Wild Space.
That sounds great. I have breaking news. I
What
just
is your
got
breaking-
a text from our friend of the show, Brooke White.
Oh my, what? What?
Brace yourself.
Okay, all right.
Chris Pratt is Mario.
There's no way.
Chris
no
Pratt
way.
is Mario.
Hang on. This might be what he needs to reinvigorate his career. I'm clicking the news.
Chris Pratt.
Where's this news coming from?
Mario. That's all I got from him. Is it not anywhere? You can't find it anywhere?
I can't. There's no. Oh wait, hang on. All right, it's an animated movie.
Yes,
all right,
yes, but even then.
This is from 50 seconds ago. IGN posting this 50 seconds ago. That's how news is.
Brooke must have alerts on his phone.
A Mario animated movie is coming holiday 2022, starring Chris Pratt as Mario and Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Brace yourself. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
that was a little too obvious, I feel like. Oh man, Pratt is
Pratt is
that is shocking news. Shocking news. I'm glad we broke it on the podcast. Oh my god. Alright, this episode is off the rails. That should be the description of the show should just be Chris Pratt is Mario.
Chris Pratt is
Nothing
Mario.
else in the description. You want to make sure people don't listen. There's like, oh, I wonder what they think of Star Wars Visions. Like, and then they see Chris Pratt as Mario. Like, guess they don't talk about it.
Guess they don't talk about it. They just talk.
They didn't talk about it for
Mario.
40 minutes.
And I feel like this is weirdly something Chris Pratt needs because
he needs to be in more comedies.
He needs to be in more comedies. I agree because
he's funny.
We watched Tomorrow War because we had a vested interest in Tomorrow War.
Because Mitch from Doughboys is in
of
it, and
course.
we love Mitch.
And he wasn't in the movie enough.
No, he's great, but he's not in it enough. He needs to be like a great that middle section of Tomorrow War is too serious. Like we need like comedy, and you'd think you could rely on Pratt for that because Pratt in the past has been very funny in movies.
But he's so serious. He needs to be funny. I have an idea because they're doing a Tomorrow War sequel, and I have an idea as to how they can get Mitch back into the movie. God. All right, so now that the aliens have come, they have time travel technology.
So
all right,
now
this is so off.
You're doing fan theories about the Tomorrow War on our podcast right now.
The Tomorrow War sequel. If anybody's listening, I have an idea for the Tomorrow War sequel, so that's why I'm saying it. But anyway, because Pratt, he prevents the Tomorrow War from happening, suddenly there's this whole group of people that are just like, well, did the Tomorrow War ever happen? Was it all a hoax? Was it just like a mass extermination of people sort of thing? So you have all these Tomorrow War deniers. Then Pratt, by changing the future, his daughter grows up and is not like the same actress as the first movie. And he's like, whoa, what went wrong here? I knew my daughter when she was an adult and this is not her. So Pratt goes back in time to like try to prove that the Tomorrow War was a thing. And of course he meets up with Mitch, whose character, what was his character name?
I don't.
Cowan.
Cowan.
They'll just shouted it from outside, Cowan, and then that's how we get Cowan back in the movie, baby.
Well, sure, yeah. I don't even, like, I don't know. I should maybe revisit that. I was so pissed when Mitch died that I checked out a little bit. Yeah, because I know, like, some people actually kind of like that movie. So.
It's, I didn't think it was the worst, but I don't think it was, like, phenomenal.
It's a very kind of, like, it's going for, like, a kind of Roland Emmerich, like, Independence Day vibe. And
yep.
that's why I needed Mitch longer, because you need, like, to have, like, the Jeff Goldblum or the, God forbid, Randy Quaid energy throughout the,
I agree. And that's what Mitch was, and they killed him off 30 minutes in, so, and then we were just like, are you kidding me? And then we had 2 hours of the movie left after that, so. Anyway, we are way off track.
Okay,
Congrats to Pratt.
Yeah. Congrats, yeah. He needed a win really bad. I don't have this reflexive, like, hate of Pratt that some people do. Like, I think he can be very entertaining. I just think he needs to be in more funny movies. Like, that's my main concern.
Stop being serious.
I mean, he's good in, like, Zero Dark 30, but, like, that's a supporting part, you know what I mean? Like, he can do that in a small role, but as a lead of, like, an action movie, like, where he's not supposed to also be funny, just a disaster. Okay, let's talk about secret missions.
Yes, Breakout Squad.
Breakout Squad. So, I was pretty much dreading this. I'm not that into clone stuff. It's part of why I haven't watched The Bad Batch yet. But by chapter 2, when Sheev Palpatine shows up, and is giving missions to Jedi, I was like,
And Sheev has something going on. It seems like he's going to have an arc in this whole story too. He's got plans, and that's like, it's really fun.
So I have a couple little notes here. I don't know why I've been, like, more committed lately to the podcast. I can't believe it.
I can't believe that either, because I've actually ceased taking notes. Like,
I don't have anything. I have nothing detailed. I have a couple notes of things that I was like, I gotta do these bits, like funny bits.
The only thing I do anymore, note wise, is on the cover. I will just write all the names. So if I have to recall a name or a planet, boom, it's right there.
I'm gonna ask you to lead the way here, because I read this book a week ago.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I know. I went all out. I had a very busy school week, so I wanted to get ahead of some stuff.
Wow.
So, anyway, so let's talk. One thing, the first chapter of the book starts introducing all these clones, and they're all going by their serial number, and I was like, oh no, at first. I was like, tell me I'm not going to have to keep track of this. But then the captain they're working with is like, what's that captain's name? Captain Locke. He's just like, you all need a nickname because this is too confusing. Like, he even says that. And then, like, he gives them all nicknames, including Chatterbox and...
well, you got Sharp, and he's got sharp eyes. You got Breaker, like a breaker and like a power breaker sort of thing, because he's like a tech wizard. And then you have Chatterbox, who's the quiet one, who doesn't say much, and his name's ironic.
For once, I want, like, a clone team to get together, and it's like, we need to come up with good, like, nicknames, and it's just like, I'm Larry, I'm Carl. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
a totally normal name.
Yeah, although now that I think about it, I guess there's Cody. Commander Cody is the ultimate normie.
Rex is pretty normal too, so.
But it's on the edge of a normal name or a nickname. You're like, which one? I can't figure it out. You know?
You want to know what my favorite Clone Wars thing is? Is how Obi-Wan is always saying how, like, good men that Cody. He's always, like, impressed by Commander Cody.
Well, they had to put all that in there because they're like, because then it makes the moment in Sid.
You know what it's like? You know what that's like? You know how in King of the Hill, Hank thinks Boomhauer is his best friend, even though there's like no real evidence of them being like besties.
If I was friends with a guy like Boomhauer, I would think he was my best friend.
But it's like that, where like Obi-Wan is Hank, and he's like, man, Commander Cody's my best friend. And then in episode 3, when Order 66 happens, it is the ultimate betrayal. So they all get nicknames. And they are, what they're doing is they are scouring the remains of the Malevolence after Anakin took it down. and they are looking for evidence of where the Malevolence was built for the Republic. And Breaker, he notices a like an electric panel, like a circuit switch or something. He notices something, circuit breaker, yeah. And he notices something, and he's like, oh, well, I don't recognize this from any system. This is not like usual Trade Federation technology. So they take that, and that gets brought to Sheev. However, Chatterbox, before he gets his nickname, is shot by a battle droid, and Captain Locke, he says something, no one dies unless I order them to die. And that comes back in later in a couple chapters. So anyway, we jump to Sheev's office, and he is meeting with a Jedi by the name of Master Ring Sol Ambase, or Ambase, or yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and he recognizes this technology as I have no idea how Kainachi.
Yeah, I think that's how
Kainachi, and he's like, "This is Kainach tech. That's where this circuit panel."
And that's this Jedi's home world.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he doesn't live there and has never lived there, but he's familiar with his home world. And this world left the Republic about 10 years earlier and became
a neutral planet.
But it's just like, oh, these are weapons of war that they're producing, possibly. So, like, aren't they supposed to be neutral? So at least that's what Sheev says. Like,
mm-hmm.
like he doesn't know. We all know he probably is behind the whole thing, of course. But
there's two moments here where like Sheev kind of like he's doing Sheev stuff. He's really well written here. Apparently, all the people of Kainachi have blonde hair, and it's apparently about with their diet. So. There's a part here where Palpatine he says, "Oh, please do forgive me, Master Ambase. I was under the impression that the people of Kainachi have golden hair, and I had not considered your ancestry." So it's like a little prod. It's like, "Oh, well, you don't look like everybody else." And then there's another part too where he's like, "Oh, well, what about your family? Don't you have family there?" And then, he's just like, "Oh, well, we're taken as infants. I don't know my family." But it's just like a little prod that he's doing right there. So, but anyway, he sends Ambase off with these clone troopers who found the circuit panel, and they're going to go to the planet. So Ambase, he goes to tell his Padawan, who's a character by the name of Nuru Kangurama, but we'll just call him Nuru. Nuru, he's a young Padawan. They don't quite say how old he is, I don't think.
Yeah, but he has had a previous master who died.
Yeah, Master Ska.
And Master Ska, who, it was skanking too much at the Battle of Geonosis, wasn't paying attention, was just too in the groove, you know what I'm saying? So,
and so anyway, this is
died,
his second. He died.
Best,
Master Ska died, and so Ambase said, "Hey, I can't take you with me on this mission. I'm sorry. I'll be back." At what point Nuru, he gets this bad feeling. He says, "I got a bad feeling about this." Well, he doesn't, but every episode of Visions does. And he's into his lightsaber training, and he hands the training lightsaber to somebody, and then he pulls out another one, and he's just like, "Oh, I built my own lightsaber already. Sorry, I didn't tell anybody." And then he runs off, and he stows away on the ship that his master's on, and he's pretty sharp at mind tricking people, and he's able to mind trick the clone troopers almost like right away to hide onto the ship.
Yeah, and then what happens next?
Then they get on the ship, and the ship gets attacked, and the ship's going down, and they find out that there is definitely some sabotage in this ship because they're getting into the escape pods. And I believe it's Breaker. They go to one jettison the one escape pod, and the controls for it are cut. So Breaker has to basically do it manually. He does that, and then they discover Nuru, so they get Nuru in a pod, and then Captain Locke is there, and he's like gravely injured, and Captain Locke, Breaker's like, Locke, you gotta get into the escape pod, get down to the planet, and he shoves Breaker into the escape pod, and he says, until I'm dead, I'm the one who gets to give the orders, like kind of like saying, how he says, no one dies until I order them to die, kind of thing. And then, so he jetsons them off, the ship explodes, and then the 2 escape pods crash land on the planet. And we also have another set of clone troopers here that we don't really get to learn anything about.
Yeah, maybe they'll come back.
Maybe their names are, actually...
Isn't it Knuckles?
Knuckles, Close Shave, No Nines, Dyer, and True Blood.
True Blood.
And shouts to
hard.
Do you remember there was an animation professor at Edinburgh whose last name was True Blood?
Yeah, which I think is a Native American name.
Okay.
I don't remember if that professor was Native American. I don't
think he was, but he didn't appear to be. But that's
that doesn't mean that's
assume,
so.
Sharp, he is with the other clones, and Knuckles is with them. So most of the story takes place from with Nuru, Knuckles, Breaker, and
Did you imagine Knuckles' voice to be like Idris Elba?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Speaking of voices of video game characters in major motion pictures,
there's also, we don't need it, this is not important at all, but they call him Knuckles because he's like really good at push-ups apparently. They have
and he does them on his knuckles.
Yeah, Chatterbox and Knuckles have a push-up contest and Knuckles wins. But anyway, so and then the other pod is with the Jedi Master on base. The only thing that happens with them really is they crash land. There's a gas leak on the pod. The Jedi Master gets zonked out. He is passed out, and all the other clone troopers, they have their helmets, so they fare a little better. And then they ended up getting picked up by droids because, surprise, there's a Trade Federation blockade around this planet that we thought was neutral, but turns out they've been under occupation for about 10 years now. And they have a transmitter blocker sort of thing, so they can't get any messages out. The people on the planet don't even know that there's a war going on. So, but the Jedi and those clones, they get captured and they get taken off to a prison. And then the rest of the story is with Nuru. And then Sheev, he's up to some other things here, too, because we get another Clone Wars character. He calls on Cad Bane to, kind of help stir the pot a little bit.
Have we talked about Cad Bane before?
We have not ever had a Cad Bane conversation.
He's never really shown up in one of the books, I guess. But I think we're both, we like Cad Bane. Isn't that...
like Cad Bane.
Do you?
I just got your text about Pratt as Mario. You sent me a screenshot of Brooke.
That'll be that's for social media. You need to post that.
So what did you ask me?
Cad Bane. How do you feel about Cad Bane?
I like Cad Bane. I think Cad Bane's a really neat character.
One of the cooler bounty hunters to be introduced.
Because he's got that cowboy vibe to him. He's got I think of him as a Clint Eastwood sort of gunslinger.
I'm going to see Cry Macho tomorrow.
Oh yeah, all right. I love the poster. I love the poster of that because it's like the most generic Western But
it's not. It's like poster. A modern. It's a set present day. So
but it looks so much like just like you got Eastwood on there with his cowboy hat on, and it just
he's 91. That's wild. Anyway, I don't think he's been in a movie. Oh wait, no, The Mule. I forgot about The Mule.
Have you? Speaking of, this has nothing to do with Clint Eastwood. Are you familiar with Flag Day?
Oh, the new Sean Penn movie with his daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched the trailer for that. I watched the trailer for that. I think the movie is not named well because with a name like Flag Day, you are expecting either like a comedy or an action movie, and this movie does not appear to be that. But
I don't know why you would expect either of those things necessarily.
I don't know, but wasn't there like that Brad Pitt movie? Isn't there like Labor Day? Isn't Labor Day a movie?
Labor Day is a Jason Reitman movie with Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin that involves.
Okay, that's right. It's Josh Brolin.
I believe it's not. Okay. It is not a comedy. It's a deep melodrama.
I remember that one being a melodrama. Yeah,
is,
I don't know. Whenever they're named after holidays, I expect comedy or
You're
sci-fi.
thinking of like the Gary Marshall movies, like New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, those movies.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Which are those? Those movies are terrible. But
Independence Day.
Well, sure. I mean, Flag Day. Yeah, I don't know. Sean Penn, as a director, it's weird because like he's made some good movies, but like, it just feels like he like. I feel like it's the same thing with his acting career, that he like that he must have like sold his soul at some point to be like, I will get 25 years of like worthwhile work, and then I will never be interested again. Like, because you look at like, because like as a director, like he made like The Pledge with Jack Nicholson, which is really good, like, and Into the Wild, which is also very good. So I think Eddie Vedder did some more songs for this one, so maybe I'll listen to the soundtrack. But anyway. Sean Penn. I don't know why we're talking. We don't need an extended Sean Penn.
What are your opinions on Cad Bane?
I like him a lot. I think a lot of the bounty hunters that have been introduced since Empire, a lot of them are attempts, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the full like. But I think Cad Bane has like entered that pantheon. He's a really interesting character. I like the Clint comparison. I think he's kind of he's just pretty exciting character. I think it's weird that they haven't tried to like adapt him into live action yet. It seems like a very obvious and like cool thing.
You know what? That's a huge rumor, a Book of Boba Fett. That
is it?
Show up. Because there's a whole storyline with that was unused for Clone Wars of him and Boba Fett had to do a mission together.
Yeah, I know about that story.
Yeah, and it explains where Boba gets the dent in his helmet. So I wouldn't be surprised.
We needed that explanation. Thank you.
Yes, we needed it so badly. But you need to watch Bad Batch, is all I'll say.
I know, I do need to watch it.
Yeah, you need to watch Bad. But anyway, yeah, Cad Bane. I like Cad Bane a lot. So.
Man, we're sprawling out this episode. I think the Franco episode got in our heads. And let's speed this along.
Okay. Cad Bane shows up. He stirs a whole lot of trouble. Then we also meet a character who helps Nubru and the clones out. The clones are mostly wearing manure sacks on their armor most of this time because they're trying to blend in. Because they are in this white armor, and everybody on the planet, the planet is completely cut off. Everybody on the planet has blonde hair from their diet, apparently. So they stand out like a sore thumb. They meet a character. Her name is Lalo Gunn, and she is a former smuggler who ended up on the planet and then couldn't leave the planet when the Trade Federation took over. So now she has a diner.
Did you imagine her being played by Anna Gunn from Breaking Bad and Deadwood?
I didn't, but I could.
Let's do it now. Let's do it.
All right. Hang on, let me get a pencil. I'll write that down.
People are like, when are they going to do another casting? We're just doing it as we go.
We're just doing it as we go.
We got Clint. We got Anna Gunn. So that's about how Anna Gunn's about the age that Clint views as an age-appropriate love interest in his movies now. Like a woman in her 40s, only 50 years younger than him.
50. So she takes them back to her ship, which is the restaurant, and some droids show up. And battle droids, they take them out. She has a navigator droid that gets caught in the crossfire, gets shot. And then with the clone troopers, they drag Cad Bane in, and they're like, hey, we just found this guy outside after the attack. So Cad Bane, he makes up this story about how the battle droids threw a flash grenade. He was just there to get something to eat. And then he starts, he's like, oh, I can't see. And then he starts telling the story that he's been hired by somebody to break a prisoner out of this prison, where it's pretty sure it's a Jedi that he's breaking out of this prison. So he has this moment here where it's like, it's better to tell the most truth that I can then actually lie about it and have to, kind of assemble this whole sort of thing. So they develop this whole master plan where Nuru, he's like, well, that's probably my Jedi Master. Let's go break him out. So they're going to break him out of this prison. Then Breaker, speaking of breaking, Breaker, he's got this idea where they're going to take the brain from the navigation droid and they're going to put it into the body of one of these battle droids, and then that battle droid, this new battle droid they build, will get the prison gates down for them. And this droid, they activate it, and there's a big battle scene including this droid at some point, but they named the droid after Christopher Moltisante's movie Cleaver.
Oh man. Christopher, the many saints of Christopher, you might say.
Yep. I wonder if there'll be any Cleaver references in
that'd be pretty hard for them to pull off, I think.
I think
takes
it
place
would be
in
too.
the 70s, so we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. That's on the books. It's on the books.
100% talking about many saints.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end of the podcast about our next couple weeks here. But anyway, this Cleaver. What it was?
Yeah, and this ends up in a big prison break. Breaker, he goes off at one point because Cad Bane's like, oh, there won't be time to take the transmission blocker down. Breaker's like, well, that's BS. I know something's up here. So Breaker breaks off. He takes the communications blocker down. He sends a message to the Republic saying, hey, this planet is under Trade Federation control, separatist occupation. Get people here immediately. Then there's this character by the name of Overseer Umbrag. And he is the same species as Wat Tambor, and he is the overseer.
My guy, Wat Tambor.
I love Wat Tambor. Wat Tambor might be my favorite separatist, with Poggle the Lesser, a close number 2.
I gotta go Poggle the Lesser. It's just such a good name. Like, what a name!
It's such a good name. The fact that it is
who's
Lesser.
Poggle the Greater? I want to meet Poggle the Greater. Where is that? The next run of Star Wars Visions, one of these people needs to have the vision to create Poggle the Greater.
Poggle the Greater. Hey, I gotta write something down real quick for the social media.
Poggle the Greater.
Poggle the Greater, yeah. Just put one of those greater signs. We need Poggle the Greater. So this character, he, the overseer, Nuru nearly takes this guy out, but he has to fight off a bunch of battle droids. The overseer escapes, contacts Darth Sidious, Sheev, and Sheev's just like, well, forget the Jedi, blow the place up. So that's what he does. He takes off. The place starts to blow up. They can't find Master on base. They find the other clone troopers. They get out of the plant. And then you find out, Overseer, he contacts Count Dooku, and Count Dooku at one point looks away to talk to somebody off hologram, and they cut later, it's Sheev. And Sheev, he keeps saying something about this squad. He knows about Breaker and the squad, and he goes, they are very resourceful. He keeps saying that they're very resourceful.
Like, what are his plans for the squad? I don't know.
Yeah, the squad, the Breakout Squad. And this is where they get their name. This is almost like Suicide Squad level stuff. They're just like, they open the prison up, and one of them, I think it's Knuckles, he goes, I guess we're the Breakout Squad. And so that's where they get their name. So anyway, we jump to, they get off planet. They don't have the Jedi Master. We cut to Cad Bane, who escaped, and Cad Bane has a coffin with him, and inside the coffin is Master on base, and he is still knocked out. He is alive, but he is knocked out, and he contacts Sheev, and Sheev's like, well, bring him to me. I got something planning. And then we cut back to Nuru, who is on a hologram, he is talking to Yoda. Yoda's like, yo, you should have not just run out of the temple like that. You should have contacted us if you had a bad feeling about your master, sort of thing. But then Palpatine enters the hologram.
Okay, so I want to talk about this scene because he realizes that, and it's kind of treated as a reveal here, and obviously, I guess for some people it'll be a reveal, but he looks at Nuru and he's just like, you are a Chiss, which Nuru is introduced and he's described as blue-skinned, red eyes, so I knew off the top, I was like, oh, he's a Chiss.
And you know that right from the cover of the book, too.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. So, I didn't pay that much attention to the cover, but I'm pleasantly surprised to see, the Chiss being used, because they weren't used that much outside of Zahn stuff, really, even in the old EU. So.
And not only that, too, but this is before Thrawn is introduced back into the canon. Well, this is before
the canon. Yeah, no, this is it was like 5 years before that, so it was 3 years before the sale. Still.
It is.
So,
but he notices this, and he's like, oh, well, I need a diplomat to go to talk to the Chiss, and what better than having one of their own there?
So they're sending him to the Chiss Ascendancy, which is kind of cool. I'm excited to get into some Chiss.
And he gets to go with Breakout Squad. Breakout Squad is going with them, and they need a ship to go straight there, so Lalo Gun, she is taking them. She is there in her ship. She's part of the crew now, basically.
Do you think it's Lalo, or do you think it's Lalo, like Lalo Schifrin, who composed the Mission Impossible theme?
Maybe.
Lalo Schifrin. But Lalo Schifrin's a man, though, so maybe.
See, I was thinking, what is the name of the character in the Temple of Doom, right at the beginning of Club Obi-Wan, like the villain there? I was thinking...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I thought... what is that guy's name?
I've been meaning to rewatch those for a while.
Temple of Doom is.
I want to get the new 4K set, and that's why.
I got to see that in theater.
I'm inching towards getting some 4K material, which is gonna just be an investment. So
because you got to get a TV, you got to.
Well, the 4K TVs are getting pretty cheap now. They're like under $400 now, but. But then the player is like $200, and so I'm just like, I don't know. Anyway, but there's enough like good stuff coming out now that I'm like, I should. Maybe...
You actually want to hear something really funny because you brought up, and I think on our last episode, the old TV at my in-laws' house that I have a Roku attached to, and it's this old tube TV. It's a flat panel tube TV. It's got the flat glass on it, so it's like right at the edge before the.
Yeah, one of those fake flat screens where they try to fool you into thinking it's.
Yeah, that you're getting something good, but it's the same thing as the curved screen.
Yeah.
For my mother-in-law's birthday, my father-in-law, he bought the 4K edition of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, cool.
The 4K edition of Gone with the Wind.
Oh, no.
And a 4K Blu-ray player.
Oh.
And they were like, can we hook this up to this TV? No, you cannot do it. I even put it on my like flat panel Vizio that I have in the basement that has.
Yeah, no, you need a 4K TV.
Yeah, you have to have a 4K TV. They will not work otherwise. So there is a 4K Blu-ray player at my in-laws' house just gathering dust currently. So.
Well, yeah, I saw they had a 4K TV. I was at Walmart last week, and I saw they had a 4K TV on sale for like $350. So they're coming down in price, but it's going to be the standard soon enough. And it's also the Criterion stuff coming out is like interesting to me. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think the Kane screen last night was from the new 4K transfer, by the way.
I doubt it would be.
Those blacks were pretty dull. I was like, what is going on here? All right, I was like, you'd think it would be from the new transfer.
Just wait till you're watching that 4K version of Uncut Gems, and they're looking into that gem, and they're like seeing the.
I just got the Blu-ray of that, like the non-Criterion Blu-ray, for like $6 at Best Buy a few months ago. So I'm probably gonna hold off on that one for a bit. Okay. But I mean, I still wouldn't mind getting it. I love that movie. But yeah. So, and I'm excited for the piano too. That's cool. That movie's fucking awesome. And James Campion's got a new movie coming out this year. Power of the dog, baby. Okay.
We are all over the place here.
I'm sorry.
Pratt is Mario.
Pratt is Mario. If you know, I'm in. I'm taking my education classes this year this semester, and there's a thing about lesson planning. A thing that's just like you got to think about like what's the enduring understanding from this lesson. What do you want your students to remember 10 years from now, 20 years from now? They're not going to remember all the details. What's the broad concept that you want them to be able to remember? And that's what I say the enduring understanding of this episode must be for all of our listeners. Chris Pratt is Mario.
All right, final thoughts on this book. Quick shout out to the illustrator on the cover. He is Wayne Lowe, who is actually a art director who works at Industrial Light and Magic, and he did production design for Clone Wars, the series. So
they're pretty cool covers, honestly.
Yep, shouts to him. And this book, I'm actually kind of excited for the setup in this book.
No, this is a solid start to a series.
I agree, and I like that, and I like the inclusion of Sheev, and Sheev is playing this whole he's got something planned here, and I'm very excited to see what that is. So that being said, I'm going to give this book 8 midichlorians. We got places to go. This series can reach some highs here, I think. So
yeah, 8 feels about right to me. I was a little nervous going in that it was going to be too clone centric, but I think they do a good mix of clones and other kinds of characters.
Also, too, we were so lukewarm on Adventures in Hyperspace too that I was a little leery going.
Yeah, but that's that's a baby book. He's going. I want to be fair to Ryder.
This is good. Ryder does a nice job here. Ryder likes to be really technical, though. He loves saying the models of any rifle that anybody is carrying.
I think he wrote. If I'm not mistaken, he was, I believe, the editor of Star Wars comics in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he wrote for some of the source books, so he probably just has all that information in his head and is just,
I think
dumping it into. So yeah, I would also agree. 8 out of 10. I liked it a lot. I think the characters were interesting. The Chiss stuff they're setting up is interesting. The Sheev stuff they're setting up is interesting. It's a solid book. I'm looking forward to the next one, which is, what's it called again?
This is the Secret Missions 2, Curse of the Black Hole Pirates.
So it's pretty obvious what we're going to be talking about in the first half. We're going to talk about the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, which feels like there's no way that title was even written without thinking about it, honestly.
There's no way. Curse of the Black Hole Pirates. Yeah, Pirates, Curse of the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which was still a massive, cultural touchstone at this point. It still is anyway, but it was, still, basically in the afterglow at that point still. And I'm looking forward to revisiting that movie. That movie is really good. Gore Verbinski, a very good director.
That'll be fun to talk about.
That's the only one I like. We'll talk about...
It's the only one that I think is good. However, I hear good things about the last one they made, and
I saw that one. We'll talk about all of this. And you're gonna bring up the Paul cameo. I know.
I haven't seen that one actually. That's the one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But friend of the show, Sam McCauley, I know, went to see that movie and walked out after the Paul cameo. So
I watched it. We'll talk about this all next week, but we're going to talk mostly about the first one, which is the only good one. Which I'm excited to revisit because last week, if you listened to a little bonus episode I put out while you were on the road, me and Sam McCauley, friend of the show, talked about The Mummy, which I just watched, and that's also partially inspired by 4K curiosity because we watched it in 4K on a 4K disc, and it was just it looked it just looks so good. I'm just God, this is more of a jump from Blu-ray than I was expecting. I was kind of it can't be that much better than Blu-ray, and it's not crazy better like Blu-ray. It's not like I'm going back to Blu-ray and it's it looks like shit now or anything, but 4K does just look. Ooh, it's a beautiful look. It's very exciting. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it anyway. So when we were talking about that though, I love adventure movies. And we also the big Jungle Cruise controversy over the last couple of months with
Yes.
between you and Sam, and we addressed it on that show. By the way, you need to listen.
All
to
right.
it, because I feel
I
like
need to have my rebuttal. So
it's an important step in your it's an important part of your relationship. I think there might be some heartbreaking news on this episode. Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to that episode. It's a fun time. He doesn't go. I didn't set him quite as loose as I was hoping to, but he's still. There's a couple very funny moments when we talk about New Jedi Order a lot, which he's been reading. So anyway, so yeah, next week.
All right, so we're
Pirates
doing
of the Caribbean. The following week will be a week after the release of The Many Saints of Newark, so we'll be talking about that. So we have a couple of our fans are very happy when we talk about The Sopranos, and this is obviously the biggest Sopranos thing to happen in a very long time.
It's the probably only Sopranos thing that's going to happen in a very long time.
I mean, if anything ever, I don't think Chase is ever going to do anything with it again, so like... they better not do anything else with it, is what I'll say. Unless Chase is involved, I'm not interested.
Maybe speaking of Brooke, Gabby, his girlfriend, for Christmas the one year, she gave me Road to Respect, the Sopranos video game. And
which is written by Doughboy Nick Weiger, I believe. I don't know if you know that.
I know he has some connection with it.
He wrote, I believe he wrote the script for Road to Respect, I think. Or something. Maybe I might be wrong about that, but he worked on that game.
He has some weird connection to it back in his video game days. But I started to play it a little bit, and it is a game that has no morality and no you have no free will in the game. So basically you just go from place to place, and every place you have to go is predetermined. You can't kind of wander around and do whatever you want. You have to go place to place. And then you mostly just have to kill people, and it's mostly just in like hand-to-hand combat. And like there's this moment where you have to beat up this guy at the Bada Bing while Polly watches, and you have to, and it's all like a button will pop on screen and you have to hit it. So like you hit X pops on the screen, and you just ram this guy's head into a urinal. X pops again. You do it again, and you do it again until finally you kill this guy. And then Polly's like, "Whoa, I need you to kill the guy." It's so bad. There's no moral center to the game at all.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
And your pussy's son, apparently too.
You're not playing Tony?
No, you are Big Pussy's son, who is so Tony walks out of the deli, all right? The game opens with Tony walking out of the deli, and he sees this street bum snatching a lady's purse, and Tony throws his arm out and he knocks the bum over, and then he notices it's Big Pussy's son, and he's just like, you know what? Clean yourself up. I got a job for you. So
that is an insanely bad idea. Like, holy shit.
Within the first couple moments of the game, once they bring Big Pussy's son in, they're at the back of the Bada Bing, and they straight up tell him that his dad was a rat. Sort of thing. They basically straight up say, yeah, we killed your father. So
I wish they could call him Little Pussy, but obviously there is a Little Pussy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the Sopranos talk for the day. Road to Respect.
But in 2 weeks we'll be doing a full breakdown of Many Saints.
Oh, there's one other thing that's funny. If you keep getting wanted by the police, you start to lose respect, and if you lose too much respect, the family will whack you. So you can't act too badly, even though
it's such a weird thing to make a video game out of. There's it's a show with basically no action elements whatsoever. So it's it's very weird to make that into a video game.
All right, Many Saints coming soon next week. The Curse of the Black Hole Pirates, along with the Curse of the Black Pearl, until the books are due back.
The library is closed.
Padawan Library is hosted and produced by Tim May and Levi Peretic. It is edited by Tim May. Our theme song is by The Astral Project. Our artwork is by Freddie Funbuns. Padawan Library is copyright 2021. Tim May and Levi Paratic. All rights reserved.